Hi, I'm Tony Nichols, and welcome to Chamber Chat. Welcome back to Chamber Chat right here on Pack 14. And joining us now is Kevin Justice, CEO of Matisse. But you're not here to talk about Matisse.
No. Today we're here to talk about the M4Reactor.
Yeah, the name sounds really cool. So tell us what the M4Reactor is all about.
So the M4Reactor, we're trying to build a community space where we'll help people engage in experiential learning in science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, with the intent of making things and either turning that into a business or using those skills to get a better job.
You know, I think it's a very relevant approach, because when we just create the space to allow things to happen, we get things like Third Friday and First Saturday. And the New Year's Eve ball drop, just by creating a space. So I think in a very similar vein, it sounds like you're doing this as a teaching and learning tool.
Yes, definitely, and having a lot of programming to kind of guide people through it. When we talk about experiential learning, it's very different than classroom learning where someone's at front, right, talking to you and you're taking notes. Experiential learning is much more about hands-on, getting to figure out something on your own and how it would work. Really how we learn as adults in many ways, because if you're given a problem at work or something, you typically don't go to a classroom to figure out how it's done. You have to figure it out on your own.
Yeah, one of the many self-analysis or tests that I took, and it determined if you were a feeler, a watcher, a thinker, or a doer. And everybody's always seen me as this big doer. But I was a thinker-doer. I was a little higher on the thinking aspect than doing, because I put so much thought into what we were going to do before we did it. So it made it appear that way. So I'm one of those hands-on kind of people as well. So you talked a little bit about the programming, having the right kind of programming. What kind of programming do you guys, or will you have?
So we're starting with our summer youth camp, which is 5 weeks of, we're calling it Summer of STEAM. We've got programs including robotics, model rocketry, 3D printing and 3D CAD. We've even got some circuitry and programming in there as well. And these are for youth from going into the 7th to 12th grades, and that'll start in July. And that's just the beginning of what we're planning.
Oh, that's the tip of the iceberg. So you said STEAM, and I did a little bit of research and went to the website. I know what it means, but you took STEM and it's STEM plus.
It's STEM plus an A for arts, and that is now the new trend, is to say STEAM. Some people around here might say the A is ag, but no, ag is a totally different category.
It could be A squared.
There you go.
Okay, so you're just starting out. Do you need organizational support in terms of space to put these programs? To have people support from the community, to tie into, volunteer work, all of that has to come into play.
Yes, definitely. Being a startup nonprofit, we're starting with zero, and we have we've really focused on 3 things to start with. The first is the people, trying to get grassroots involvement. We've been having all sorts of interest meetings to see if people are interested, and those have been a great turnout. I've got 10 people already that are volunteering with the organization on a regular basis to help us do things like creating our educational plan, doing our membership documents, all sorts of different things, our marketing. We'll have a booth up this coming Third Friday even, and continue to do that on Third Fridays. So yeah, there's definitely opportunities for people to get involved from the volunteer standpoint. But when we think about the other keys, especially partners in the community, we've had a great response so far to the people and companies we've reached out to, but we're still looking for more from that perspective. organizations like the library and the Maryland Extension Office and AING have been great in terms of helping us out and identify space that we can use short term. But we do need to find space long term. And we've got some feelers out, but still haven't found the exact right space for us. We'd like to be downtown, be central to the city and that sort of thing. So we'll see what's available, and maybe someone seeing this can help us out.
Okay, so I'm sitting here. There are certain things that I'm okay at, and then there are certain things where I need to let someone else step forward and help. So I'm thinking all these technological terms and the robotics and the you know, shooting the rockets off, and I can't do any of that. So but I'm sure there's a place for people like me, not just the very technical side of things.
Well, and I would argue that you can do all of that.
Okay.
Because even our summer program that we're doing with the youth this summer, there is no experience required, and yet they're going to walk out, the students who do robotics are going to walk out with a robotic arm that they built and programmed. And we could even teach you to do that, Tony. Model rocketry, same thing. You know, a lot of these things boil down to very core skills that most people have and can easily be taught. It may sound lofty that we use all these technological words and so forth, but it really is simple, and it's about putting a lot of small skills together to be able to accomplish something. So, you know, when you think about CAD, well, okay, maybe you've never used a CAD program before, but it's not hard to show you how to do that and how to draw boxes on a screen and then to shave pieces off to actually make something in 3D that we could print.
Speaking of 3D and printing, it's a pretty cool prop, but I'd like you to speak to it. We've got a little M4Reactor there.
Yeah, this is just a little stand that one of our volunteers had designed. As you can see, it's M and 4 and then the reactor on the bottom there. And this was 3D printed after it was designed in CAD. Took about, I want to say about 5 hours to print this. It's a pretty solid piece. And we're going to use this to model into our trophies for the different awards that we give out.
Very good. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So this is, you know, and to design this took him about 15 minutes. So it really wasn't much from a design perspective. The printing process takes a lot longer.
Right. And you got one more piece of equipment there you brought in, which looks like an iPad to me.
Well, it is an iPad with an attachment that's a 3D scanner. And this 3D scanner is using infrared beams. So if I wanted to, I could spend a few minutes and walk around you and have a complete 3D image of your head. And we could then print it.
Two of me is not such a great idea. But it's that simple to plug into an iPad and just attach it.
Exactly. Plug it. The device is extra, obviously, not very expensive, and there's software on the iPad that you load up, and you just walk around, and it's using a combination of the camera that's in the iPad plus the infrared beams that's being generated and caught by this other sensor to do a 3D map of whatever you're scanning.
That's fantastic. So that's some of the tools and a picture of what the students, participants that are going through the program will be using and making.
Exactly, exactly. And you know, we were talking about the youth programming being the tip of the iceberg. You know, our goal is also to move into dislocated training. So using these same skills to get adults in terms of better, whether it be soldering skills, programming skills, using CNC machines, so that they can get a better job or get a job in the case of some of them.
Yeah, so I think that's so vital, because nowadays when a person loses their job or from a plant closing or whatever, many times it's a different career path that they have to go down. So they have to have an entirely different skill set than what they had for the last 20 years even. Exactly, and there really aren't that many places in our community that does that technical training, that hands-on training. That's what we hope to be able to provide. All right, tell us how local businesses can get involved and get support. We have to have support from the community. Yeah, definitely. From the local business perspective, you know, we first hope that they would come to one of our interest meetings to learn more about us. But more so, you know, we're starting up a corporate sponsorship program. We hope that companies participate with that. We'll be doing direct asks from that perspective. And then also I would ask, especially organizations companies that have shops and so forth, to look around and see if you have some old equipment that you're not using, some old supplies and that sort of thing, because we are definitely accepting donations to get our facility running. I'm sure every organization could pull out some things out of the corner that would be able to use. So rather than say they won't need this, offer it up, and it's probably needed. Exactly, exactly. Very good. All right, well, how can we find out more about the M4 reactor?
The best place is M4Reactor.org at our website, and we've got a mailing list, so please sign up for our mailing list. We don't send too many emails out, but it's all about the activities we're having.
Right.
Parents can also sign up their students for the Summer of STEAM programs on our website.
Kevin, thanks for coming in and sharing, man. It sounds exciting.
Thank you.